belong with me, and I belong with you. You belong with me, and I belong with you.
Oh, hello, and welcome to bite number 4 of our transgender awareness series of Belonging Ties. I'm Danielle Wood.
And I'm Sophie Wood. And on this session, we're going to be taking a look at some of the language which surrounds this topic.
Yeah, so indeed, whilst getting an understanding of all of the language that surrounds the world of diversity, is a really great thing to do. You will probably find that it is a never-ending task because language is forever evolving. Indeed, we find that a lot of people we meet find even the thought of delving into the language of diversity and inclusion really overwhelming because there's just so much to learn and remember. And many people managers and HR professionals tell us that often there's a fear around saying the wrong thing and perhaps something that may unintentionally offend somebody or even worse still, alienate them. So, this is absolutely a common and understandable feeling, and it can create hesitancy. Then instead of leaning into, making those connections, they actually find themselves distancing themselves. And that's where exclusion starts. So, even when they want to foster a culture of inclusivity, they find themselves doing the exact same opposite. So what we want to do today is try and simplify it and take that fear away. So let's start simple and get to know those around you because that's what's important, the people that you're with every day. So find out who they are, find out what's important to them. What do they need from you? All right. Having those human to human conversations will create strong connections. And if you don't have those connections, it's kind of like trying to do a jigsaw puzzle without having all the pieces.
It was absolutely spot on, Danielle. I think one of the most effective ways to build connections with people is through what we like to call conscious communication, where intent aligns with your behavior. So, what do I mean by that? Well, language really does matter. The words we choose can either empower and welcome, or they can alienate and exclude. And whilst intent is important, impact is what ultimately shapes our experiences. So consider this example. If I introduce myself as Sophie using she and her pronouns, and someone repeatedly refers to me as he and him, then that sends a clear message. And when done intentionally, that feels like rejection to me, like I'm not being accepted for who I am, and I'm likely to take offense at that communication. But when my lovely wife Danielle occasionally slips up, referring to me as he, whilst perhaps recalling a memory from our life before Sophie arrived on the scene in our relationship, it lands very differently. She catches herself, apologizes, and I know her intent is loving and supportive. There is a complete absence of malice there, just a slight human imperfection. So the difference between those two scenarios, it's intent. Danielle's kindness leaves room for correction and connection. And this illustrates that even when mistakes are made, conscious inclusion creates space for growth in our relationships with others.
Absolutely, Sophie. So, if you're interacting with somebody who is trans or non-binary, you can take any uncertainty out of the situation by either taking the bull by the horns and saying something like, "Hi, my name is Danielle. My pronouns are she and her. What about you?" That helps clear it up. If you already know the person and you're still not sure and don't feel comfortable in asking, all you need to do is use gender neutral language and you're referring to them. So you can use they and them, and you can use their name, and that's one of the simplest forms. So if you're in a meeting with somebody, rather than saying he or she said, or she or he did, how about saying Sam said, or Charlie did that? You just have to use the name. It's really super simple. Does that make sense, Sophie?
It sure does. Now, whilst we're talking about language, and another phrase that comes up in relation to trans people in particular is dead naming. And it's another one that trips some people up. And again, this one's all about intent.
Yeah. And for those of you who have not heard the phrase before, it simply means using the name the trans individual had before they transitioned and changed their name. So it can take a while to get used to the new name. You know, I've been saying Sophie for 13 years and counting, but occasionally when I'm recalling, particularly when I'm recalling something from years ago before Sophie transitioned, and I'm visualizing it in my mind's eye, then I'm not seeing Sophie, and I will inadvertently use her dead name, and it might slip out. It does from time to time. Rarely now, but at the beginning it did a lot. And, you know, Sophie knows that this is the reason, and we both acknowledge what I've done and just move on. It's really not a drama. However, if you have a trans individual, let's say in a work situation, and one of their team members refuses to use their new name and intentionally uses their previous name all the time, then that intent is more of a malicious nature. As Sophie said, that is more malicious. What would you say, Sophie?
Yeah,
Would you
I
agree?
totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Everybody will get a clear sense that malice is present in the communication if that is the intent behind it, for sure.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Sophie. So for today, I'm going to suggest we wrap up there. Next time, we are going to take a look at some of the impact that coming out as transgender has on family dynamics and relationships. So between now and then, if you want to comment or ask a question, please do so. Drop something on the post or DM us. If you want to find out more about us or what some of the other Belonging Bite Size, then please do check out our website, which is www.belongingbase.com. It's along the bottom of the screen. And so until next time, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Bye.
Answer for, 'cause you belong with me.